Greetings, fellow detectives. Wizard Kitten here, bringing you a new build in my series, Building Nancy Drew in The Sims 4. Today we are building, or I guess renovating, another building that we don't really get to see much of at all in the games, but that I have always been very curious about to see kind of the whole thing. So I wanted to bring it to life in The Sims, much like the Boar's Head pub that I did from Curse of Blackmore Manor. This is the Copper Fork from Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. The Copper Fork is the bar and restaurant in Copper Gorge where the train stops and Frank has to play short order cook for a little while, and it's the place where, of course, Joe gets his famous cheeseburger. And because of that, it is a very important place. And we don't get to see it in the game in its entirety. We just get to see the little counter where Frank is cooking. So I wanted to make it in The Sims so that we can imagine what it might actually look like. And rather than starting from scratch and making a whole new building, I decided to take this bar, which is originally called the Caboose, in Evergreen Harbor, the world that came with Eco Lifestyle, and turn this building into the Copper Fork because, for a variety of reasons. One, I have been wanting to redo this bar for my save file for quite some time. I've been wanting to make it into a combination of restaurant and bar anyway, because I feel like Evergreen Harbor needs that. And two, it is literally situated at a train station and is designed from an old train station. It used to be the building where people would kind of sit and wait before getting on their train. That used to be the idea of this building. It was renovated into a bar, the Caboose in The Sims lore. And so I just took that idea and ran with it, saying that the Copper Fork was instead the same thing. It used to be a train station area and then was renovated into the restaurant that we know and love in the Nancy Drew game. Going off of the name, the Copper Fork, I tried to put a lot of copper accents and brown accents all around the build as much as possible, and I used as many kind of fork decor items as I could. So you'll see me size up the giant fork and spoon 3 different times throughout the building and put lots of decorations that I felt kind of gave across a country vibe as well as a just like warm restaurant pub type vibe, because I did still want there to be a bar area in Evergreen Harbor. I do think that's helpful for Sims to have, but I also just wanted the restaurant option as well, because then you can get a cheeseburger. So of course, when I was making the menu for this place, I of course made sure that you could order a cheeseburger. When I did the menu for the restaurant, I kept it quite simple. I kind of imagined that a lot of the people who would go to this restaurant are more like rural cowboy kind of farm kind of food. So it's very warm comfort type foods, lots of sandwiches, camper stew, Franks and beans, French fries, and then for dessert, like pies, sweet potato pie, banana cream pie, those kinds of things. Just very wholesome and simple. And I would love to eat here. I had a lot of fun designing it and putting the menu together. I had a lot of fun giving the hosts their outfits, which is an apron with a cheeseburger on it. Obviously, because that's what makes this place so iconic, is Joe's famous cheeseburger. So up here on this level, which honestly gives the building most of its architectural appeal, if I'm being honest, just because it gives it some dimension so it's not just one giant rectangle, I decided to turn this into one public bathroom instead of 2 small ones, mostly because the space felt like it wasn't being utilized very well. It was just way too big with just 1 toilet and 1 sink in those tiny little rooms. So I wanted to use the stalls from Discover University, which I thought fit so much better. I honestly love the vanity area. I feel like it truly gets the vibe of Copper Gorge across really nicely. Plus it's got kind of coppery accents with the sinks itself, so I thought that was very very nice for the Copper Fork, for a cowboy type theme. And up on the upper level, I use a lot of art from Strangerville and Get Famous that has more of a cowboy type theme to it. So you're going to see lots of those kinds of decorations throughout the entire restaurant. On the lower level, I really liked how the dark wood looked upstairs, so I decided to bring that same wood to the downstairs level as well. And then the whole bottom level, honestly, is going to be quite brown. It's going to be mostly shades of brown, a little bit of metal tones, lots of wood tones, and then just a little bit of teal and a little bit of green. And a little bit of red, honestly. But really, it's going to be a very, very earthy kind of looking building. When I imagine what that restaurant must look like, I get lots of saloon vibes. So like if we think about the saloon in Message in a Haunted Mansion, I was honestly kind of going for that kind of look while still trying to maintain what this building looked like with the eco lifestyle kinds of wood tones and everything, and integrating in a lot of Strangerville, a lot of country living, a lot of those kinds of things to just kind of warm it up a little bit and make it feel more rustic. And I think I got the balance right. I personally enjoy how it looks, but you will all have to let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Does this look like how you imagined the Copper Gorge would look like? Like if you were Frank and you could look up from your little cooking station, what would you see? Would it be anything like this? So I'd be very curious to hear what you all think. I have basically never used this bar from Strangerville. I honestly purchased Strangerville solely for the build and buy items in that pack. There's a couple Kaz items that I really love. I have never fully played through the story. I watched several YouTubers play through the story itself, but that's the reason I have Strangerville, is for the build and buy items, because it came with a lot of really nice Victorian items. Honestly, I am excited for the generation in my Legacy Challenge that I'm doing in my own free time, which I've mentioned on the channel before. I'm excited for the generation that actually is going to live in Strangerville, because that's going to be kind of exciting, I think, to actually play it for the first time. It's a really good way to kind of bring back all of the joy associated with playing Sims packs and getting them for the first time. It can become a little bit overwhelming. Like the gameplay for Realm of Magic, I have not played at all. And part of that is because I was kind of disappointed with how the gameplay for Realm of Magic turned out. I have always loved the idea of having magic and wizards in The Sims 4 because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, but the kinds of magic that's included in The Sims 4 often does not feel very similar to that world. It feels like something very separate, and I know that's because they try to kind of combine all of the different kinds of witches and wizards and that entire huge category of lore that comes with that. There's definitely more witch and wizard types and stories than just Harry Potter, obviously, so they want to try and be inclusive of all of those different things, but it's never quite landed for me. Honestly, the best, I feel like, magic pack that has ever happened in the Sims franchise is the Sims 1 magic expansion, Make and Magic. I loved that pack so much. It was easily my favorite expansion for The Sims 1. It was so fun because it felt like its own full standalone game, being able to do duels the way you could, and they had this really creepy carnival world that was just so spooky and so interesting. The memories I have of that place was so fun. I really enjoyed the original Sims Make and Magic. But yeah, long story short, I am excited to actually play the Realm of Magic gameplay and get into it. I'm very excited for the wedding pack, which is supposed to be coming out soon. I know it's super buggy right now, but hopefully that gets fixed. I'm sure it will eventually, even if it doesn't right away. They always kind of get around to getting things to work. I know the Bust the Dust kit was really broken when it came out and was really overzealous, but now I honestly love it. Just playing family gameplay and having my Sims need to vacuum, and especially if you have the laundry kit too, it's just so fun seeing the house get dirty every once in a while, because then your Sims have to do their chores, and it adds this whole other level of just gameplay to their lives. Your Sims actually have to do things, and I appreciate that. They're not just disappearing off to work every day and then they come home and then they can do whatever they want. No, it fills up the time. It fills up the time for them to have some chores and get those kids to learn some responsibility and stuff. So I appreciate those kinds of things. I'm really excited for the wedding pack. Honestly, I'm most excited for all of the extra events even beyond the wedding, like the rehearsal dinners and the batch parties. I am really excited for those. I have wanted those events for such a long time. I kind of informally did them on my own anyway, so that's what I'm looking most forward to. But we are coming up here very quickly on the building tour, so I will see you then. Okay, fellow detectives, here we are at the completed Copper Fork. Of course, because we are in eco lifestyle and we are in the industrial neighborhood, things are looking a little smoggy. And honestly, I think that kind of gives across the vibes of Copper Gorge anyway, because when we're there, it's kind of dusty and cloudy anyway, so I kind of love it. But anyway, here is the renovated train station turned into what I imagine the Copper Fork in Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon would look like. On the outside here, I didn't do too much. I really just kind of updated the exterior to include a few more details. I polished it up a little bit, and honestly, most of this hasn't changed, except I added more landscaping. I didn't change any of the architecture at all. So most of the changes we're gonna see are gonna be on the inside. Whoa! So let's go ahead and go inside. And once you walk in through the big doors here, we have the host station at the front. I did put kind of like a copper fork at the front here, as well as a train station decoration. And I love how the host wears an apron that has a, of course, cheeseburger on it. Around the corner is the waiter station for the waiter. And then I just kind of decorated this half of the restaurant with more of a bar and pub type feel. So we've got a lot of decorations on the walls, a lot of wood tones, and lots of different metal, and I tried to keep it kind of varied so it looks really nice and full. I do also love that we have the arrowheads on the back, which is not Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon, but is Secret of Shadow Ranch, and therefore seems to fit in very nicely with a Nancy Drew style build. But if we zoom over to the other half of the restaurant over here, this is kind of the nicer area of the restaurant, so less busy and crowded than the pub area. This is where we have some kind of more comfortable seating, some nice tables on the side here. And I imagined that this table right here is where Frank would be cooking in the kitchen area right there, and he would be able to hear the old man and his friend talking out at this table right here. I kind of like that this table is situated here for people who want a spectacle while they're eating. They can watch the cook and chat with the cook, which is kind of just a fun detail. The kitchen in here is very simple. It's just the basics, just what we need, but honestly, does this not look like the game? Like, that looks exactly like our setup in Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. But let's head upstairs. So when you come up the stairs, you come up to this loft area, which is decorated with kind of some country style items, a nice little kind of just getting ready area in between, going to the bathroom, using your meal, that sort of thing. And then the bathroom upstairs is very simple. We just have a couple of bathroom stalls from Discover University, and then a nice little sink area with these sinks that I think really give across a Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon vibe. So yeah, that is the Copper Fork based off of the restaurant in Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. Originally a bar in Eco Lifestyle in Evergreen Harbor that I kind of modified, just renovated to become a restaurant and to fit the theme, I feel like, a little bit better, as well as look like the Copper Fork. So I do hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Nancy Drew and Sims 4 content. Thank you so much for watching, fellow detectives. I will see you soon.